decide you want to watch it again, you could go right on the website and watch the public hearing. Welcome to the Town of Babylon Planning Board. Today is the 3rd of March, 2025. We do have a public hearing, so we'll begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ed, could you lead us in the pledge? All rise, please.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Jerry O'Neill. Edward Wynn.
Present.
John Leon.
Present.
Ann Trucan.
Present.
Frank Santos. Rich Grow.
Present.
Greg Gaxiola. Matt Esposito. Rich Casey.
Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Okay.
You have that and your memo.
Before we start the public hearing, I need to read the statement into the record. The planning board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the planning board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void. Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
Item A, public hearing.
Go ahead.
Site plan review, subdivision, change of zone. Job 2430 ABE, Pinello Estates, 109 LLC. Purpose to subdivide an 89,532 square foot lot into 2 lots. On proposed lot 1, which is to be 6,882 square feet, the applicant will remain an existing 2,062 square feet office building, along with associated site plans. On proposed lot 2, which is to be 82,650 square feet, the applicant proposes a change of zone from G industry to MR multiple residence in order to construct 7 buildings for a total of 14 3-bedroom condominium units, along with associated site plans.
Okay, who's here on behalf of the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Nicole Blanda. I'm an attorney at Bazell, Blanda & Visconti with offices at 535 Broad Hollow Road in Melville.
Okay, counsel, have you had the opportunity to review the memo dated the 26th of February from the Planning Commissioner Denise Graziano regarding this application?
Yes, we have.
And does your client have any issues, any concerns, anything that they'd like to bring to the attention of the board regarding any of the covenants or restrictions?
No, Mr.
outlined in
Chairman.
this memorandum?
No issues.
So does your client agree with all of the conditions and covenants stated in the memo?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owner, Pinello Estates 109 LLC, in connection with this application for a 2-lot subdivision, a recommendation for a change of zone, and a subdivision. And site plan approval, I'm sorry. We've reviewed the requested conditions, and I would like to highlight just a couple for the board's edification with respect to Lot 1, specifically that the office building would be maintained as a single tenant user, no medical office, and with respect to Lot 2, that the units would be owner occupied and that there are no basements. So the premises has an address of 404 Route 109 in West Babylon. It maintains frontage on both Route 109, but the bulk of the frontage is on East Drive, having 407 feet along East Drive. The total lot area is just over 2 acres, and it is zoned Industry G. The site is an old radio tower site. It has an existing office building, and previously it had an office with 2 recording studios. The original CO dates back to 1957. There is a portion of the Santapog Creek that runs through and adjacent to this site and heads down, goes under Montauk Highway, and eventually runs into the Great South Bay. So there is a DEC application pending as well, and I'll get into the DEC application later in this presentation. So I'm going to start my presentation a little differently than I normally do. I want to point out that the project is a multiple residence project, but that there are no rentals. Previously, back in 2020, we had filed an application with the Planning Department for 34 one-bedroom apartments. We then had a community meeting in 2022, and based on the community feedback, it was very clear that they did not want apartments and that ownership was more important. So after some revisions to the plans and meetings with the town, another application was filed, and that is the application that is before the board tonight. This is a condominium development. Each condo is for sale. So I'd like to start, if possible, by showing the renderings and/or the elevations on the projection screen to get a feel for the style of housing that we're talking about here. So these are duplexes, and they're true duplexes in that there's 2 living units side by side sharing a wall. And so usually a duplex would be a condominium or a townhouse. These are not condos that maybe the board has seen before where their units are kind of small and they're little 1-bedrooms and they seem more like an apartment. This is a true 2-story home that is attached and shares a wall. Each duplex has its own entrance, and in this case, each duplex will have its own internal garage. They each have a first floor that has a living room that opens then into a kitchen, which has an internal eating area and/or dining room, and it has a bathroom. The first floor without the garage is 787 square feet. It then has its own garage with access from outside. Each unit has a second floor with 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a laundry room, and that floor is 1,007 square feet. There are no basements. Each condo will be single family, owner occupied. These are essentially small homes. They share a wall. So that is a different style of housing than I think the town is used to seeing, but it's an interesting style of housing given the inventory that's on the market right now. So we are proposing 14 condos within 7 of the structures that you see on the screen right now. So from the street, they'll look like wider style homes. And the garages will not be facing East Drive. So when we look at the site plan, we'll see that we're looking at a 2-lot subdivision. So Lot 1, we're proposing to maintain the existing 1-story office building as it currently is in its current state. That lot fronts on Route 109, and we do have an application pending with the New York State DOT for a curb cut that would let out onto 109 so that that site can operate independently of the rest of the property. Lot 1 is proposed to have a lot area of 6,882 square feet, and it would have 2 parking spaces within the front. Because of this, we have been asked to, and we have agreed to, a covenant that this would be for a single tenant. Right now, they use it as their real estate management office, so the property owner is actually using this office. And so what that means is it wouldn't be rented out to multiple users. You wouldn't have one office with an insurance broker, one office with a real estate broker, a lawyer. It wouldn't be like that. There's a covenant being requested to have it as a single tenant office building and no medical office, because as we all know, medical office generates increased traffic. On Lot 2, we're proposing the multi-residence condo development. So as we go through the site plan, ingress and egress is proposed along East Drive in the northerly portion of the property, similar to where it's situated right now. There will be no other driveways fronting on East Drive. So no other curb cuts. The units that are fronting on East Drive will not have access to the road. They will not be coming out onto East Drive. All driveways for the condos will be within the property so that we don't have as many, as much traffic going in reverse onto East Drive. Along East Drive, we are proposing street trees such as Japanese dogwoods and flowering dogwoods, as well as other landscaping and shrubs. There'll be all new street curbing and sidewalks pursuant to Town of Babylon specifications. There will also be a 4-foot estate fence that would be continuous along East Drive. At the southerly side of the property, on East Drive, we've been asked to provide an emergency vehicle crash gate so that if there was an emergency, fire trucks and other emergency vehicles would have another means of ingress and egress to the site. For this area, we would be using what's called grasscrete, which are permeable pavers. Grass will grow in between the interlocking pavers, so it will look as if it's a grassed landscaped area. However, it is an environmentally friendly way to provide emergency vehicle access on site. But that is the only use for this area. It would not be used for regular traffic. Along that side on the south, we are providing a 28-foot side yard. So that's 28 feet from the wall of building number four to the property line. And it's just over 40 feet from the wall of building 4 to the adjacent home. There will be 4 structures that are proposed along East Drive, as you can see on the site plan. Each structure has the 2 condominiums. As we then enter the site, there's screened and gated refuse enclosures that would be for both the condo site and the office site. There would have to be a cross-access easement agreement filed and recorded with the Suffolk County Clerk so that the sites can access each other. As we drive around into the internal road, or what we're calling the drive aisle, you can see that we can access all of the buildings, that all of the driveways come out and face onto that roadway. Each garage can park 1 car, and each driveway can park 2. So we meet the parking requirement. We're required to have 42 spaces, and the site is providing 42 spaces. The drive aisle will also be constructed with permeable pavers, which will help with drainage on this site. The creek is freshwater wetlands, and so we do have a DEC consultant handling the DEC permit application. That consultant is Cole Environmental Services, and there is a proposed limit of disturbance. As you can see on the site plan, it's shown in blue. Within the non-disturbance area, we are proposing DEC-approved plantings and vegetation. There's certain types of plantings that are not permitted within this area, so they all have to be reviewed and approved by the DEC. The DEC has jurisdiction within 100 feet of these wetlands, and they would like for us to keep a 50-foot non-disturbance area, which is what we are trying to do. And so that, again, it's all under review at the New York State DEC. If we take a look at the landscaped rendering, if possible, it's a colored landscaped rendering. And on that rendering, we could see that there is a green...
Hold on, let me pull it up, please.
If you can't find it, Mr. Esposito, it's fine. We could use the regular landscaping if you want.
We'll let him look. I'd like to see it. Did you put so much work and effort into it?
I could submit a copy to the board. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
There it is. I knew we'd find it.
No problem.
Ah, okay. All right, please proceed.
So you can see the green shaded area between the proposed buildings and the blue that is shown as the creek. That area has plantings that are acceptable to the DEC, and they provide mitigation measures. The area that would be cleared currently has some invasive species that actually hurt the environment. So for example, there are invasive plants that are home to the spotted lanternflies, and so that's considered an invasive species. There's other invasive species as well, and we do have a narrative from the environmental consultant talking about those invasive species and supporting the project by stating that by cleaning the site up and removing the invasive species, by planting native upland and freshwater wetland vegetation and using permeable surfaces on the site, the project will actually bolster the health of the ecosystem, because right now we have automotive uses that are around it, other industrial uses that are around it, and so over the years you've just gotten these invasive species that are now on the site, and they're actually hurting the wetland. I am going to submit that narrative to the board so that you do have copies of it. And then when we resubmit anything, we'll continue to have CES comment on it. So as part of the DEC's review of this application, it will be looking at all of these factors, and it will make recommendations, whether they be mitigative measures or comments regarding the development, whether they want us to do more plantings or less. We do know that the permeable pavers was something that they wanted to mitigate the drainage on the site and to make sure that there's no drainage headed towards the wetlands. So with respect to drainage, all stormwater from the development will be contained on site. There will not be any runoff onto adjacent properties. We're basically collecting roof runoff directly through piping to the underground leaching galleys. The drive aisle and the driveways, as I said, will be made out of permeable pavers as per the DEC, and that will also help keep drainage on the site and away from the wetlands. They're sloped into the center of the site, so they'll be collected by the same leaching galleys that we are proposing. I do have our architect, Chuck Lembo from Spaces, with us tonight, and he can answer any further specific questions regarding the drainage system and how it would work. All site lighting will be dark sky compliant, meaning that it will not spill over onto adjacent properties. It will be all according to town specifications. The town traffic consultant on this project was IMEG, formerly Cameron Engineering. The traffic review found that for multi-residence traffic, the project would generate between 6 to 7 trips per hour, which is in total for both directions, both entering and exiting. And it was found to be, quote, a negligible number of trips that would not impact traffic flow or require a traffic study. Again, this was the town's traffic consultant, IMEG. We have been made aware that there is concern about traffic coming off of Route 109, coming down East Drive, or coming off of Webster. And we do want to say that we're happy to interface with the town's traffic consultant to come up with some kind of resolution, whether it be increase in stop signs. There is now currently a stop sign on Webster that kind of stops just before you get to the edge of the street. I can only assume the town did that maybe for sightline visibility, but we are, happy to entertain other suggestions. I was not able to talk directly with the traffic consultant. I have to go through planning in order to do that, but we're happy to have those conversations. If we look at the surrounding area, it is a transitional area given the various zones and uses that do surround this property. To the north along Route 109 and touching this site are industrial zone properties with auto uses, outside storage uses, and other types of commercial uses. Across Route 109 are other commercial uses, including Stop and Shop and some other stores. You do have other multi-res projects down Route 109. Some of them are senior, some of them are non-age restricted. There is another condominium site that was, I believe, South Shore Villas, which was a Della Franca development. To the south are residential homes that are within the village of Lindenhurst, except for the house to the immediate south of us, which is the town of Babylon. It's zoned Residence D, but it is developed as a single-family dwelling. To the west are residential homes and a Residence A district. To the east are residential homes, and then there's Residence B and Residence C districts. So this is a 2.055 acre property that's zoned industrial, that's sitting right between a very commercial corridor, industrial uses, and then single-family homes around the other sides. So in terms of planning and zoning, this would be a nice softer transition than putting an industrial use on this site, since that's what it's zoned for. We didn't really believe that that would be a good fit for the area. We think that some kind of transitional housing development would be a better fit to utilize the property and be a compromise between the community and the property owner, and we do believe that this is preferable. Again, this is not an apartment project. It's been extremely scaled back from 34 units to 14 condos. These are essentially single-family homes, albeit they're attached. A condo plan does go to the New York State Attorney General, so they do also have a say. And so I know that there's always a concern, well, what if people rent? What if people do this? What if people do that? But not only do you have the town regulating between zoning and having covenants and restrictions that run with the property, so that any future owner is subject to the same covenants and restrictions that the original owner is subject to. It literally runs with the land. Title reports will bring up the covenants. That's how future owners would be aware. But when they go and purchase a condo, they're also given a copy of the offering plan. And within the offering plan that's approved by the New York State Attorney General, they also have a list of restrictions and regulations. There'll be a homeowners association. There'll be maintenance fees. So there'll also be other quote-unquote bylaws that will govern the condo development. So you can't have a rogue individual just doing whatever they feel like. They're going to be subject to the review of the condo association in the future, as well as obviously subject to the town's regulations. So that completes my presentation for now. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have now, or if you want the architect to answer any questions now, or if you'd like us to just come back up after.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Blanda? No? Okay. Why don't you have the architect? Sorry, Frank?
Hi. Where the emergency vehicles are going in.
Yes.
The 20-foot wide permeable pavers there. Is there enough radius to make the turn?
Yes.
There is.
Yeah. That's why it's in that specific location. And the architect could also, it's in one of the drawings, he says, but he can come up and show you if you'd like.
Okay. Why don't we-
You want me to bring him up? Okay.
Why don't we have the architect come up?
You want me to leave the plans up here for you?
Do we have?
You want me to leave the plans up here for you to use?
Okay, sir, please state your name and address for the record.
Charles Lembo, architect, 410 West Montauk Highway, Lindenhurst, New York.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. The turning radius that you're asking about is on drawing ST3. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, yes, that was reviewed. Do you have any specific questions I can answer or you'd like addressed?
That's just that, just for you. Are there any other questions regarding the layout of the board? Juan?
Thank you. While we're on the same subject, can you describe to us where the fire hydrants are located on the premises?
I don't know that they've been approved yet. I know my partner is dialoguing with the Water Authority as far as where they go. I don't believe they've been approved at this point yet. They probably would be. Let me just double check. I can't see anything. Yeah, but there would be new fire hydrants installed along the road as well. Utilities plans.
Where are they,
okay.
Matt? Okay, there's the hydrant.
Yeah, there's fire hydrant in the, that would be the
Another one
northeast corner. And
over there.
there's one also at the end of the road in the corner by the crash gate, all the way up against the property line right there, where he's got the hand showed.
Okay, any other questions? No? Thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Ms. Blanda? No. Okay. Thank you very much. As we can see, there are a number of people who are very interested in this proposal. I just want to read this. In the interest of efficiency, please keep your comments concise so all of the residents who want to speak to the board will get an opportunity to be heard. And if you agree with the prior speaker, please feel free to just say that. Speakers' comments can indicate that you're in alignment with what you have heard prior. So the first person we have,
Julianne Nolan?
could you please state your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Julianne Nolan. I reside at 31 Karen Street, West Babylon, New York.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
I'm here tonight as a neighbor on this proposed application. I am here as a private citizen and not in the capacity of a planning board member. I made it clear to the board and to this public I have recused myself on this application and will have no voting privileges on this application. I would like to state that I did not receive the required mailing notice for this application, although my neighbors did receive it. I reside at 31 Karen Street and directly affected by the
Matt,
applicant's
can we pull up
development.
the aerial so we can see where people reside in relation to the proposal? I'm sorry. Where's 31?
It looks like, okay, so the second cul-de-sac down,
Okay,
right where the 2024 date is, that is probably
all right.
my house right in there.
Thank you.
I do have prints from Google Maps to show you where my house is in relation to this application.
Okay.
The parcel is Zone G industrial, however, directly facing and surrounded by residential homes on a very quiet street, other than behind the property, which is an auto dealer on the corner, an auto repair shop, and Hassel Auto Body. Directly across the street from that is the West Babylon Post Office and Stop and Shop Shopping Center. First and foremost, if there ever was traffic congestion and a safety problem with an application, this is the location. The entrance to East Drive is directly after the exit ramp getting off of Route 109, which then tries to merge into traffic, where traffic would be making right turns out of East Drive, and then there's another legal turnaround directly right there from traffic headed going west, across from the West Babylon Post Office. There have been many accidents at this exact traffic location, even as recent as a week ago, when a postal truck hit the median guardrail and was hanging over it with another vehicle involved. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic coming out of East Drive for people going to the post office and Stop and Shop. There have even been a few pedestrian deaths at this exact location as well. To even consider building 7 buildings with 14 condos on this otherwise residential acreage is unthinkable. The amount of vehicle traffic coming out of that complex will be doing turnarounds to exit out of East Drive. I can't foresee them using the traffic going down East Drive to Railroad Avenue, which would only be congesting that street and hazards multiplying in this undescribed intersection of Route 109 that does not have a traffic light. Additionally, the privacy of the people enjoying their private homes and backyards will be lost with the potential of these buildings being erected. There clearly is a deficiency of parking overflow on the streets. I'm handing out a second print from Google Earth Map showing the close proximity of Santapug Creek along East River and the homes in the cul-de-sac of Karen Street and those surrounding, where my home is the second one in from the creek. Santapug Creek runs along East Drive from Montauk Highway North and ends at this applicant's parcel and goes underneath 109. During heavy rains, that creek backs up and floods out the neighbor's property at 33 Karen Street, which is directly touching the creek, into his yard, into my yard, and other homes in the cul-de-sacs. I'm assuming on Shirley and Brook behind me. I'm talking about 2/3 of our backyard with more than a foot of water onto our properties. At least 3 times in the past few years, we've had several inches of water into our entire basements. I can only foresee more flooding into these residential properties created by the potential building on this acreage, affecting the homes on both sides of the creek. For these reasons, I'm here to voice my opinion to this application. There is no off-street parking available unless it is Stop and Shop, which would increase the hazards of pedestrians crossing 4 lanes of heavy traffic Route 109. Perhaps the applicant would consider building single-family homes on this parcel, which is more conducive with the immediate surrounding. Thank you to the board and this application. I will now exit the rest of the meeting so that I do not have any say or hear. Thank you
you
for
very
hearing me and
much.
for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, of course. Okay, next.
Michelle Haynes?
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Michelle Haynes, 15 Shirley Lane. I live,
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
I live directly behind where they're opposing to build.
Okay,
All
where-
the
hold on,
trees,
Hold on, where is that, Matt?
that first coat, right there.
Right
that-
there?
Right there.
Okay,
That's me.
gotcha.
I've lived there for 38 years, and all those trees that they're proposing to take down and put new vegetation, that has been my privacy. If they take all that down, yes, I agree with the other woman also that, all the other stuff that's going on, but that's all my privacy that they're going to be taking down. And we just want to know how much of that is, I know they want to plant trees and stuff, but that takes years and years to, establish. So that's my concern, and all the other traffic and all that, and all the flooding also from, the creek. But that's my concern, is all the privacy that we're going to be losing in those areas behind there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down this evening.
Stephen Aquinelta?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, Stephen Aquavita, 697 East Drive.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Swear to tell the truth.
And thank you for pronouncing your name.
You're welcome. I agree with what was said before me. I know the presenter said that, the invasive species are here, but she said they're here because of the automotive building that's there. I don't see that automotive building going anywhere when these are erected. So what would then prevent those invasive species from even coming back? It looks to me like spot zoning, where everything else is commercial, single families all around it. And I hope you guys also take that into mind too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Zach Williams?
Sir, please state your name and address for the record.
Zach Williams, 661 East Drive.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And I like your sweatshirt.
Thank you, much
Here's
appreciated.
the clam power.
This is a good starting point because
Okay,
where
good.
we're talking about with the Sanapog Creek, this is the headwaters. It goes 3.5 approximately miles down into the Great South Bay. Turtles, snakes, and then once you get into the brackish water, striped bass, snappers, many species from the top to the bottom stay here. I have a couple of questions regarding the DEC because I spoke to a few times the regional permit manager and as well as the natural resources supervisor, and they're under a different impression than the facts that were provided here tonight. They're under the impression that this is a sub 2 acre lot, and they're also under the impression that 0.3 of that is designated wetlands. That has not been mentioned tonight, and I don't know the validity of it, but it's what I was told at the last meeting and what I was told on the phone today from both of these people. I'm waiting a call back on the third person.
No, hold on. It's important that you state clearly. So you're saying that that 2 acre plot includes the wetlands?
Correct. That only usable is 1.6 is what they're under the impression, which the same impression I was under. Also, as far as non-permeable bulkheading, they said under no circumstances should a concrete bulkhead be used to divert this creek, because all that's going to do is all those houses on the east side of East Drive, when you're moving a creek or a creek runs, as you know, in any hurricane, big storm, squall, when the water level rises, the bulkheads need to be semi-permeable. So the water can disperse throughout. When they're non-permeable, like a fiberglass or a sheet or even a concrete bulkhead, they rise and they go down and they gain volume and they gain speed. And they're going to wind up in everyone's backyards worse. From what I was told from the DEC, the only way you can use a non-permeable bulkhead is if it goes under a roadway or a structure. So I'm curious how we're going to divert this creek. Another thing that didn't seem to be touched upon in the presentation. Also, the fact that we were told at the last meeting there was a traffic study. And then at this meeting, we're being told that because it was negligible, there was no traffic study needed. Seems a little dishonest at the very least, because people have been killed at the top of that block. And I know many of the people sitting behind me go on walks in this neighborhood with their kids, their bikes. That seems a little discourteous that it was our safety of our kids, of people who live in that neighborhood, wasn't even considered. It was so negligible that it wasn't deemed necessary. As far as anything else, I think that's all that I have. If there's a way that I could get the coal environmental services where we could see these proposed environmental plans, that'd be great, because the DEC was unable to provide it. Also, the sign does not have the DEC permit number on it, so there's no way for the DEC to look it up. They just Google mapped it, went in, and could get whatever they could off of the desktop. There's nothing, to my knowledge, or at least what was provided me today and on Friday, there was nothing they could give me current on file because there's no number provided. I think that about covers it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming down.
Randy Murphy?
Hi, please state your
Hi.
name and address for the record.
Randy Murphy, and I am located at 626 Grand Avenue. So
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I have to say one of my very biggest issues is the traffic. I am 2 blocks over, and we do have the street that runs parallel to us. You are saying that there is a stop sign on East Drive. However, even on my block with traffic, we've had multiple accidents, probably about 3 that I can remember. People tend to drive down these 3 blocks, my block and the 2 blocks next to me, which includes East Drive, at a very high rate. They're very long blocks without stop signs. And the block that runs parallel, there are probably 1, 2, 3 stop signs, but the majority of people that drive through our neighborhood drive right through the stop signs. We got a lot of traffic just in general off of 109 and Sunrise Highway, people using these roadways as cut-throughs, including we have a lot of trucks that also use our roadway instead of using the truck route. So as I said, just the accidents that have happened since I've been living in this location, very frequent, where we've had the police department, numerous cars being hit, with this condominium complex having the one entrance and exit off East Drive. I just see that as dangerous and increasing the traffic. Also, we are a residential neighborhood. I know there's, work businesses on 109 specifically, but we're still in that little pocket of having a residential neighborhood. So I'm definitely against this, and the wetlands. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rhea Lewins?
Okay, please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Rhea Lunis. I live at 702 East Drive.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do. Thank you. So I am directly the adjacent property, 702. So
Hold
where?
on, where is 702? Matt, can you get the little cursor down there? Where is that in relation to the cursor?
Right there.
Right there, okay.
Yes.
You are directly adjacent.
Yes, I'm
all
right there. So in the
By the way, the
beginning.
pool looks nice.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. So my husband and I have been living there now we purchased the property from the adjacent land there, and 32 years ago. So we have been living there since. And that, I can agree with a lot of people where they're saying about their privacy issues and the trees and this and that. I mean, my biggest thing is, what is our alternative? So if we now have this land zoned industrial, and then we purchased it, 1/4 acre of it, zoned now residential, it changed over, and we built our home, next door, what if it stays industrial, what is going to be there? So for me, I have to say what I have reviewed the plans and gone over and discussed with my husband, my family. A lot of people might disagree with a lot of the things that I'm saying, but being right next door to it, if I see a storage unit or any type of parking garage or any type of anything else there, what is that going to do to my property value at this point? So I do have reservations that I did bring up to the architect, to Chuck, to Nicole, regarding where everyone was saying about the traffic, okay? So building that road, yes, it's going to provide safety for coming down East Drive, but that corner, and I did bring this up many, many times, is a hazard for us because of that stop sign that's on Webster. So I would truly ask the town for some help in that area. And I know where Hassel bought the corner, he put some sidewalks. They're doing sidewalks. If I didn't have any other choice, I mean, I would love these condominiums to be there because they're owner occupied. So for me, it's still creating that residential setting. Apartments, I would be 100% against. Now, also with that drive-through coming in adjacent to my property there, the privacy issue, I can agree and I can't agree because I don't believe that behind my property and where the wetlands are, I don't believe that those trees can even come down. So I don't think that a privacy issue for me would be a problem. As far as the creek coming over, I never had the water in my yard. So I can't speak.
All right, hold on.
Because you're down and you're all the way down
ma'am,
East
ma'am.
Drive and much
Hold on,
closer.
can I just say something?
Sure.
Please address the board.
Okay,
And-
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
It's really important that we get everything that you're saying and everybody else is saying.
Right, I understand,
Carefully
thank you.
noted, so
Yes.
address us.
So, as I have to say, being right next door, if this is what we are, what they're proposing, something's going to go there regardless. So we can fight, we can argue, we can continuously go on and on. Something is going to go there. So to me, I have to agree with this plan being next door because I think this is something that will actually increase our property value, not so much bring it down as if something industrial would go there. I don't want to see a business coming next door, so. Did you have anything to
Okay.
add? No? Okay, that's
Thank
my
you very
husband.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Catherine Malloy.
Catherine Malloy? Okay. She comes. Again, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Catherine Millay. I live at 1163 Montauk Highway in Copiague, New York.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
First and foremost, I would like to address the whole situation with the privacy and the parking and the traffic. We need to preserve the environment and enhance the appearance rather than leave it to be an eyesore that it currently is. As previously emphasized by our council, that it will be a soft transition between the industrial category and the private residential, and in agreement with Rena Lunas in regards to alternative. A condominium development is the best feasible venture in this case, rather than an industrial building, such as a storage facility.
Hold on, you got to slow down.
Sorry.
Because we're going to have to transcribe all of that. Okay, but keep going.
Than a storage facility, which will not enhance the neighboring property value, but also create security trifles, because there will be traffic regardless, but then with the storage facility, you don't know who's coming in, bringing what in, or what's going on. So this is a great alternative, and I'm in alignment with the plan and the project.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sean McLaughlin.
Sir, please state your name.
My name is Sean McLaughlin. I reside at 33 Karen Street, West Babylon, New
Swear
York.
to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
I live next door to Julianne Nolan, and I'm going to echo a couple points. One, I want to echo the creek. As Julianne mentioned, when it rains very heavily, I could float a boat in my backyard. And my concern is that by building these residences, even though the attorney pointed out that it would not affect the creek, that it could potentially, there's no guarantee that you wouldn't have people throwing trash, you wouldn't have people throwing things which will back up the creek and put even more water into my yard and flood my basement even more. Two, I want to address the traffic issue. That area is a nightmare. You have people, as Julian mentioned, you have people coming off of Sunrise Highway, coming onto Route 109. You have people flying off of Sunrise Highway onto 109. You have people trying to make U-turns from westbound 109 onto eastbound 109. And then you have East Drive there, people trying to come off. That is an absolute recipe for disaster. If this is allowed with 14 residences, 3 cars apiece, that's another 42 cars that you're gonna have going in and off of East Drive. That, if you wanna see really bad accidents, it's going to continue. Third, I live obviously fairly close, and yes, privacy is somewhat an issue. I like this. It's a single, I bought my house 17 years ago. I've lived in the community for 17 years. It's single family residences. I understand condominiums, okay? I understand it's, for sale. To me, putting condominiums in single family home area just does not fit, okay? It just has a bad look. As far as those who say it could be storage, something else, and have security issue, the woman just mentioned, we already have a crime issue in this area, so it's not gonna become any worse. There are cars, people's cars getting broken into. For me, that issue is a moot point about it being a storage facility. And we don't know what somebody else could put there. But those are the reasons why I am against this condominium. So I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Linda Schweitzer?
Again, please state your
Hi.
name and address for the record.
My name is Linda Schweitzer. I live at 648 Center Avenue in
You
Lindenhurst.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the
I
truth?
do. So the reason why I come here today is there's a very big water problem that happens from the Santa Paula Creek. So this is a positive flow system off the streets and into the sewer drains. What happens is the pipes under the railroad are too small for the water to handle. So the water backs up, goes through the storm drains, and bubbles out into the streets. Center Avenue becomes pretty much flooded in front of my house at 648 Center Avenue. It causes all the water to come back up onto my property, fill my property. It has gone into my basement. It has ruined my oil burners. I had to put a pump under. When the pump goes, it goes for months. I pay that electric bill. It's not only my house, the hydrostatic pressure, what you're saying is, I'm going to put the water back into the ground. That's great, but it has nowhere to go but into people's basements. We flood. There's many houses that flood. You talk about the lanternfly, but maybe you don't know about the critically endangered bat that lives there, the northern bat. That is critically endangered. There's many there. They kill all the mosquitoes in the area that pool from that stream that goes all the way down. So by the railroad tracks, both sides is pooled water that's stagnant in the backyards. You could see the bats fluttering all summer long. It also houses crows, songbirds, a fox. I know the property. I've been there 60 years. I love the area. We also, I have to say, there's accountability here. If you look at the industrial area, there's a garbage dump. We are a light industrial area. We used to have bakeries and things of that nature. Over the years, we hear clanking now from Nicolak. Our area is being destroyed and taken apart for greed. And it's not fair to the residents who built their homes. For me, my family's been there for 100 years. I would like to continue maybe and give my son the house. We lifted the house because of the water that came in. I spent $125,000 doing it. Not to say that I am not opposed to building on this property. I just think the greed and grandioso of the property is too much. I say scale it back, put houses in the front. I wouldn't even mind the 4 condos in the front, leave the wetlands, let people have their privacy. The roads, last week, you're talking about the post office one, we made News Channel 12 twice from cars flipping over. This block gets up, they get up to about 60, 70, 80 miles. You need to take care of the problems that exist now instead of adding to it. After you fix the problems, then talk about adding this large grandiosas. And I'm sorry, the woman that came up that's all for the project worked with the builder. I was at the apartment complex. They got together afterwards and they were going to work with her. How come they didn't work with us?
Okay, hold on. Again, speak to us.
Okay, so my apologies if it didn't happen, but this was what was exchanged when I was standing right there, that we would work with her. However, the animals that live there are not being looked at. It's coming down soon that you're not going to be able to build on half an acre of land. They're going to give a buffer for the critically endangered northern bat. There's also, like I said, songbirds. It has to be studied before it's destroyed. And like I said, I am not opposed to building residential on the street. This is what it needs, but put at least 300, 400 buffer in the back. I think it's just too big for the property. It goes into the residential area. The high traffic, you could kill yourself trying to get into that block or out of that block. But that's all I have right now for you, and I really hope you hear us, and we can move forward to get something that's amicable for both of us. And like I said, we're not opposed to putting the ones in the front, and it should be faced to the street, make them pretty. We'll all welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anne Marie Capolino?
Again, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Anne Marie Capolino. I live at 678 East Drive.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I absolutely do. My parents will have lived in my house for 50 years come November. In that time, the creek has ran immediately behind my house. We get all sorts of squirrels, bunnies, snakes, lizards, bats, whatnot. They come from the trees that are back there over in that wetlands. You kill the trees, where are the animals gonna go? Secondly, the traffic assessment that was done on this property was done during COVID. Who was going anywhere? Nobody. We were told not to, so we didn't. And like the good neighbors we are, we said hello, passing each other, walking with our dogs, and whatever other children, whatever, with our masks on, going through the blocks. There's also a school bus stop that sits at that stop sign that they want to have this apartment complex come out of. I know. I used to be on that bus. The other thing is if you want to separate and have the radio station separate as its own entity, building, and then develop houses like the houses that are currently on the block, instead of making 2-family condo houses and 14 of them, I think that would be better for the property value than actually building condos there. When somebody buys a property, you assume that they're going to take the responsibilities of the upkeep. Mind you that that light tower has still been standing there without a red light on top of it for a flying plane just to crash into it and cause fire and damage to the property that's already there. I know I'm very emotional about this because I've lived there 47 years myself come the end of this month. I beg to the board to please reassess this property and make sure that it is not sent to the wastelands to somebody who's going to build and destroy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all the people who have signed a request to speak. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Come on up. Please, we'll give you the form to fill out. You don't have to do it this minute,
Okay.
but be sure to do it as soon as you're finished. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Renee Hensley. I live at 666 East Drive.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
And many years ago, when the DEC visited my property, when I asked them if I could put fill in because my property floods,
Okay, hold on. Where's your property in relation
I'm 10 houses away
to the swimming pool? Further
from the
down
swimming
here?
pool.
No, don't worry about it. Where is
Ten-
it in relation to the cursor there?
10 houses, and my backyard backs up to the creek. On heavy rains, as other people have stated, the creek overflows into my yard. Thankfully, I don't have a basement. It's never gotten to that point, but there's all kinds of trash that comes floating down that creek, and I do go in it and clean it up. But I asked the DEC if I could put fill in my backyard to raise the level and grass, and they said no. They told me yet the reason why, so the ducks couldn't get out. So it seems like there's two different standards. There's a standard for a resident, and there's a standard for a commercial property. I don't think that's fair. The average plot on that block, except for the houses that are adjacent to it, is 100 by 100. And now you're squeezing 14 into 1.6 acres. And the third point I wanted to point out is they rebuilt the gas station that was on the corner. They put in sidewalks. It looks beautiful. But now people park there. And when you come off 109, people coming off a high rate of speed, and there's cars parked there, and you're driving down 109, you're into the center of the road now. That absolutely has to be between Webster and 109. It's only 100 feet. No parking signs.
Okay, we'll make a note of that.
On both sides of the road. It's an accident waiting to happen. There's already been a death there.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? No? Okay, come on up. Hold on, this gentleman is coming. Okay, don't forget to fill that form out, okay, and then give that to this gentleman. Okay, please state, because you have to fill out.
Yes, sir. My name is Michael Caracciolo. I live on 803 North Green over here.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
This is actually the first meeting I've ever come to one at like the town hall here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have
Yes, yes. Hopefully this yields something. Everyone's concern about like the wetlands and nature is completely like acceptable, and I agree with it 100%. I'm actually more a little concerned with the more grandiose scale of things. Long Island was never meant to be heavily populated. Now, people could disagree with me or not, but I actually work in JFK Airport. And like before COVID, I would say maybe prior to 2019, my commute used to be on average maybe 50 minutes. I'll tell you right now on average, it's about an hour to 20 to an hour 30. Now, other than just these condos, which granted are a little more acceptable because you want to make them two families, fine.
All right.
But I mean, other than apartments, you have multifamily houses building up everywhere. I mean, you guys tore down the trees over here, right behind Tudor Time. Are those multifamily homes as well? I mean, there's I think a 3-family house over here by Hing Hing Kitchen. It just kind of seems like the only thing that people are trying to pop up nowadays are either multifamily homes or apartments. This island can't sustain so many people. The infrastructure can't sustain it. I'm sure you probably heard this 1,000 times, but for someone like me who has to travel for work, it's a nightmare, and it only gets worse.
All right.
So what is your answer to solve that? Are you guys going to build more roadways, or?
Hold on. Our job here as the planning board is to look at the site plan for this particular project. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're raising, important matters.
Right.
But they're not relevant to this particular application other than there are 14 condominiums.
And they're 2-family, you said, yes?
They're not 2-family. They are 14 individual condominiums.
Gotcha, okay. One of the reasons I came here was for facts, so I appreciate that. But that's my main concern, is just overpopulation. But
you should show up more often.
I do, I want to. I'd like
All
to
right, but
see
you're
these
done
more.
for tonight. Okay.
Sounds good to me. Do I
Thanks
sign
very
somewhere?
much. Fill out the form.
Okay.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have someone else who'd like to speak about this application. All right, hold on. Okay. You have to fill out one of these.
I
after
will.
you speak. Again,
Yes, sir.
please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Robin Silvestri. I live at 4201 Southwest 26th Avenue in Cape Coral, Florida.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, the whole truth? What the heck are you doing here? Why
I
are you down
stand
there?
here
It's
before you.
cold. Here.
I stand here. Oh, sorry, I have my jacket on. I'm the executive director for Save the Great South Bay.
Okay,
And Sanapog Creek is one of the 50 creeks that leads into the Great South Bay.
And by the way,
between.
you did a lot of great work.
Thank you.
And I followed you online all the time.
Thank you so much.
Work you did to preserve and improve the quality of the Great South Bay.
Including the water quality of the fresh water. We call them the arteries. The creeks are the arteries of fresh water to the bay. And we do ask that in consideration of this application, we were very happy to hear that the DEC is being brought in. Those trees that are standing, they provide a natural stormwater runoff barrier. You know, they are decades old and have deep root systems. By tearing them out and putting in new plugs, you kind of destroy the existing natural barrier for stormwater runoff. I appreciate the use of permeable pavers. That's a great addition. Japanese anything doesn't belong on Long Island. We ask that only native species be put into the architectural, into the landscape plan, and that I don't know if the planning board has any say in that, but that all native plants be used here. And that really consideration be given to leave as much of the landscape that is there. Invasive species may be taken out at will, but the trees themselves already provide stormwater management. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't forget to fill out the form. All right. If there's no one else that would like to address the board, I'd like to take a motion to close this. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, you're right. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Can the applicant's attorney come back up? Thank you. As you heard, there are a number of questions that were raised and concerns that were raised. Would you like to address them? But the first one I'd like to ask you to address is the traffic study. When was that done?
The one in 2020 was for when this was apartments. There were two done in 2024. Cameron issued a memo, or IMG, on July 18th of 2024, and then they issued a second memo November 15th of 2024.
And that is regarding this particular?
This project, right.
This particular proposal, this
right.
project, okay.
So we're happy to interface with IMEG. Rebecca Goldberg is the engineer that's working on behalf of the town to review this. And if maybe I can schedule something between planning and traffic, and we can sit down and discuss that, the issues that were brought up tonight, so that we can resolve them, because I don't want to speak out of turn and I can only go by what she wrote in her memo. So it's possible she's not aware of the concerns that were raised, obviously, but we're happy to try to resolve them.
Okay. We're talking about the terrible traffic conditions coming off Route
Yes.
109?
East Drive, 109, and
East Drive,
Webster.
109.
I'm hearing that's a really bad
Okay.
intersection.
Can you also address the issues regarding the DEC? There was a observation made regarding impermeable barriers along the creek.
So right now, we're not proposing any bulkheading along the creek, so I can't really speak to that because that's not shown on our plans. But I will certainly have our I've took notes, and I will certainly have our DEC consultant address the comments and questions that were raised tonight, if they were not already raised in her narrative that I provided. She did speak mostly to the mitigation measures that we're proposing, the permeable pavers, trying to keep native plants in the disturbance area, invasive species, getting rid of that. Not trying, we are proposing native plants in that area. Sorry, wrong use of words. But again, we are happy to provide her, have her provide a report as well.
And what is the status of the review by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation?
So based on what Kate Rummel from Cole Environmental has told me, they've shared plans with the examiner, and they've been given a markup of those plans and been asked to include mitigation measures, which we're proposing. So there's been a back and forth dialogue. It now goes to, I'm told, a technician or a technical advisor who then reviews our revised plans. So we've made revisions based on, so for example, they've given us a list of native plants and things that would be allowed and permitted within the non-disturbance area. And so our architect has adjusted the plans and revised them, and now that has to be resubmitted and reviewed.
Are there any other questions from the board?
Thank you. Out of curiosity, given that the surrounding area has had flooding issues from the creek, was there any ever study done for this particular property and site with flooding from the creek with relation to the proposed development and how far that water would be coming?
Not that I'm aware, no.
Excuse me, Mr. Grow, come on up here, please, so everybody can hear you. Mr. Grow, introduce yourself to everyone here.
Yeah, Rich Crow, Chief Environmental Analyst, Town of Babylon. This is a very important watershed. We've had a lot of problems with this watershed in the past. There's been a lot of filling. There was a lot of homes that were built right against the creek. There was a study done many years ago. We have taken a number of measures. We preserve land to the north, Beaver Lake. We have an area there that actually captures runoff before it comes down this way. We're looking, I'm sorry, this is very loud. Oh, okay. Thank you. We're looking at this project very carefully. We are coordinating with the state DC on the secret review. There will be no bulkhead there. It's all going to be native plants. There is historical fill on the site. There is buried concrete, that sort of thing. When that material is removed, that is going to increase the hydrology on the site. And they are proposing drainage. They will have to do a stormwater pollution prevention plan. We'll be looking at the project very carefully. We don't want to see any increase in stormwater runoff in that area. We actually want to see things be made better with whatever project does get approved on the site. So I hope that's helpful information.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grow. Matt?
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If the board had any other questions about drainage or the drainage system or flooding, my architect is happy to answer.
Okay. Nothing? Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure Mr. Grow will be working.
We're happy to work with him, absolutely.
Well, I don't care whether you're happy, you're going to have to work with him.
We will, of course. We always work with him.
Happy that, we're glad that you'll be working with him. Okay, there's one thing I want to just state for everybody that's here. We are the planning board. We are not the zoning board. And as you all know, this particular property requires a change in zone, and that's done by the town of Babylon's town council, the town board, supervisor, and the council members. So there will be another hearing regarding the change of zone, and that you will all be notified when that is scheduled. So our job here today is to look very carefully at this plan as it is proposed, and to get feedback from you all. So it's been very, very, very much appreciated by me and all of the other board members. And we're grateful to get your perspective because you live in this area and have for a long time. So thank you very much. Right now, I'm going to request a motion from the board to close the public hearing and to reserve decision. Motion by Frank, second by Jerry. All in favor? This public hearing is now closed. The decision has also been reserved in order for us to review the feedback we've received this evening and any open site plan issues. The record will remain open for written comments. To follow up on the status of the application or to submit additional written comments, you can contact the planning department these ways. In person, planning is located on the west wing of Town Hall. Application documents, plans are available for inspection between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. or by phone, 631-957-3103, or via planning comments, that's one word, planning comments at Town of Babylon, New York. Again, that's one word, Town of Babylon, New York.gov. Thank you very much. Thank you. That concludes this portion of our meeting. We will now go into our work session. And we will be turning off the